right, let's interview Wil Becker. What do you say?
Sounds great.
Awesome, awesome. Um, Wil, you have been a speaker at my event for three, four times. This is your fourth time, right?
Yep.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah. Super
And
thankful.
oh, stop. No.
No, really, I am because I've spoken in plenty of places, but your events have been the first time I've been on stage for somebody and speaking to an audience that I don't know well. So I'm very grateful for the experience.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
the audience that you don't know well, let's talk a little bit about that because
Sure.
I think some people are a little concerned when they come to an event where they don't know anybody or they don't know what to expect from the audience. So tell me
Sure.
what you have experienced as far as the audience is concerned.
So when it comes to events like this, if you are showing up 100% authentically and bringing your best self, no matter what that looks like on that day, you will find an amazing audience because people that are looking for growth, that are looking for the personal and professional development, that are putting in the personal time and money investment are open to learning from someone else. You know, I've given you a lot of credit, Jamie, because when I first got connected to your Zoom events several years ago, I had the wrong attitude when I came in. I was not in it for what I could get out of it entirely. And I realized right away that I had the wrong attitude because of the amazing people that were there. And it allowed me then to grow. And because of you and your co-host nurturing and love for the group and people that were coming, it allowed me to see that there's a better way to do things. And that has been a huge impact on me. Now, I've been able to order some products from the different people that have been from that group. Um, and one of the members of that group reached out recently. She just finished a book, and she's like, "Hey, would you be willing to do a book review?" Are you kidding me? Absolutely. You're like my auntie. Heck yeah. So what we find is we find people with like mind that are interested in that growth and development, and they're there because they're looking for the next key for the next block that they're trying to work on.
Amazing, amazing. I love that. I love that because no matter where you are, you can find your people, right?
Yeah, you
No
really
matter where
can.
you can find your people. Yeah. Um, tell me a little bit about what you've talked about in the past and why this year is going to be a little bit different.
So I talk a lot about quotes and I talk a lot about books because there is a power in knowledge that when we learn it and then apply it to ourselves, it broadens our horizons, it increases our own knowledge and wisdom. And as one of my mentors likes to say, we join the great conversation. Um, I encourage people to write in the book. If you have a disagreement with the author, make a note, whether you use a sticky note or write on the page, you highlight it, because what you're doing then is you're saying, well, this doesn't, this passage, it doesn't quite feel right. This seems a little bit off. Now, granted, some of the greats have been gone for 60, 70, 100 years, but their books are still being published. In fact, this morning I just finished reading Les Giblin's book, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People. And in the very end of the book, he encourages the reader to figure out what they need to work on next so that they can grow. And that's why the quotes, that's why I talk about the books. That's why I did the 150 episode book review podcast. It's kind of a crazy big mess. Um, but the beautiful thing is that inside books are knowledge and power and wisdom. And you can find leadership, which is one of my favorite topics, in novels, in histories, in biographies. And the whole world of books are open for us if we're willing to turn a page.
And that brings me to your business name, Turning Leaves.
Yes, yes, it is. Because one of the old sayings, And Jamie, it's from, before our era, really, but we heard it growing up too. I'm sure you did, is to turn over a new leaf. And I love that because when you look at whether it's a page or for yourself, making one improvement. Two of my favorite books that I talk about, recommend, and even give away to people is Atomic Habits by James Clear and The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And in my mind, those books are actually two sides of the same coin. One is about how you build in a habit into your life, and the other one is how to take that habit and make improvements. Now, they both talk about the same things, but one's coming from a very logical perspective, and one's coming from a more, for the lack of a technical term, kind of a woo-woo, kind of a feeling way to do things. And when you bring those together, when I bring those together in myself, and I've seen other people do it, what I see is that our growth accelerates. You know, one of many years ago, I followed this blog on preparedness, and the the creators wrote an article called "Fitness is Built," and it talks about the daily habits, and that's exactly why I love these two books is because they remind us that success is built in the daily habits. You know, I was talking to my kid last night at dinner, one of my boys last night at dinner, and he was like, "Yeah, you've been getting up at 5 o'clock since forever." And I'm like, "Yeah, because for me, that's one of my daily habits that sets my day up for success." Now, I just had talked to a friend this week and I told him, I said, for the first 45 minutes to an hour of the day, I don't even speak out loud. I just am in the quiet. I'm with my thoughts. I'm with my scripture. I'm with whatever material I'm working on in that morning, my affirmations, and it's those habits. And sometimes I think what people think is like, okay, I've got this big goal and I've got this whole thing to do, and I'm gonna start it on Monday. And Monday rolls around, and you're like, oh. So instead, Monday rolls around. Okay, what's the first thing on this that I can do? What's the smallest portion that I can do that will be real natural for me to step into? And then you step into that thing. Like I've been, like Jamie, I've been working on my health and fitness for 5 years pretty seriously. And it's been one tweak here, one change there, change my routine in the morning to go to an evening routine because of the time I have. I had knee surgery a little over 2.5 years ago, and I had to redo everything so that I could get that leg back to where I need it to be. So turning over a leaf is about turning that page, but also about what small change can you make today for better tomorrow.
I love that. Love that. Love that. The, you know, to me, and I'm just gonna, not that you asked, but I'm gonna go there.
Cool.
One of the things about turning leaves is both being able to look at the past to see where you've come from and how far you've come, because that's
Oh
something
yes.
that we sometimes forget to celebrate. We forget to celebrate the little things that have brought us to where we are today. And and how to bring that into the momentum of moving forward and moving
Oh
beyond
yeah.
today. And how is that going to give us hope? And how is that going to propel us
Oh
to
yeah.
keep trying, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. You just reminded me of one of my favorite analogies for life and success. And it's climbing a mountain.
Yes.
Whether you're hiking it or you've getting higher up and you've got to do more technical, when you start on that journey, you're walking, you're on hills, maybe you're in the low country, and eventually over time you get higher. And when you do look back and you see where you've come from, the things that you've changed in yourself, the bad habits or the less desirable habits that you give up for the next step, you know, those things accumulate. And sometimes when we get discouraged because we're not accomplishing this next step, we do need to look back, Jamie. You're absolutely right. We need to remind ourselves how far we've come and that we can accomplish the next thing. We've got to give ourselves grace. We've got to have patience with ourselves. And sometimes we have to be willing to take a different approach than the one that we're already working on.
Which is, I feel like, where the books come in.
Yeah.
Taking from somebody else's wisdom is what helps us overcome and or avoid some of the obstacles that they found along that
Yes.
path.
Yes. And I tell people that books are the ultimate cheat code to life
Yes,
because whether you pick up Les Giblin's book or you pick up Frank Betcher's book or any of the hundreds of fantastic books out there, you're taking 5, 6 hours or however long it takes you to read it, and you're getting 80 years worth of wisdom, 25 years worth of research when it comes to the magic of thinking big by um, David Schwartz. So you're cheating in a way, but also those who copy the greats, you do well. Like when you can apply it. And so I've shared this before too, Jamie, but I love this because when I first heard, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But when you cross a river, you never, and then you go back and you cross it a second time, you never step in the same river twice
right.
because the water's different. And what that symbolizes is the next time I open up Les Giblin's book to read it, I've grown. I'm a different person. And so the content is going to, my mind is going to focus on different points of content that I saw. One of the things I read today that was in the book, I I have it right here because I just took a picture of it so that I can share it later. And because I'm going to write it up, it says Charles Fillmore said, words of praise, gratitude, or thanksgiving expand, set free, and in every way radiate energy. You can praise a weak body into strength, a fearful heart into peace and trust, shattered nerves into poise and power, a failing business into prosperity and success, want and insufficiency into supply and support. And I had part of this marked for myself, but when I read it today, it just really hit differently. And it really drove home that we can have the things we want. We can create the life that we want. What are we willing to do?
Yeah,
And this just hit me so differently today
love
than
that.
in the past. So now I'm actually gonna take it and I'm gonna type it up and I'm gonna frame it and it's gonna go on my wall behind me here so that I can see it regularly and be reminded we can create if we're willing to do the work.
I love that. I love that. All right, so let's let's switch it up, make it a little bit more fun. So
Sure.
where is what are some fun questions? Where is your favorite place that you've ever traveled?
Uh, so wow. Probably my favorite place as a kid was the Harz Mountains in Germany. And it's a forest in the middle of this. I don't even remember where it is anymore. It's in the middle of the southern part of Germany. And we went there as Boy Scouts to hike. Um, and the reason is because it's so peaceful. It was so calm. And being an army brat and growing up and moving and, you know, having that chaos that comes with that lifestyle, having and finding a place of peace and then being able to carry that with me and create peace in my own life has opened my mind and my spirit to learning opportunities by creating that peace. Now, as an adult, the place that does that for me most actively is the beach. And so, when my wife and I got married, her family's always vacation at the beach. And I had been to Long Beach, California, and the Pacific is very cold there. And I've been to northern Germany in the North Sea, and that water's very cold there. So when she took me to the Atlantic seaboard for the first time and I got in the water, I was like, oh, this water is nice. It's warm. And another friend taught us how to play in the waves. and be safe. But then what it really got me was sitting on the beach in my chair with my book, listening to the waves, checking on the kids every now and then to make sure things are okay, and just being in that moment has created massive amounts of peace. When I have the time, um, and I'm not kind of doing like two things at once, because a lot of times I might be reading while doing something else and one eye on the page. When I can sit down, I turn on ocean waves in the background, and then I just turn on my noise canceling headphones and I just get my book, and I'm sitting on the beach reading my book at that beach house that I'm going to have one day, because that is where there's peace for me, like so much peace.
Love that. Love, love, love. So nice. And yes, you're absolutely right. The Pacific is freezing. I can tell you that locks in Scotland are freezing. Oh, but that Atlantic Ocean, and let me tell you something too. The Mediterranean Ocean, also very warm. So, so, so nice. So nice. So different.
On my bucket list,
On your bucket list. I love it. Well, if you could give one piece of advice to an up and coming entrepreneur, what would that be?
the best advice I could give is to never take your eye off your goal. Find something that's going to take you a long time to get to. And I don't mean that as a financial number. It doesn't have to be a property or a certain type of car, but
But it can
I
be.
have a project. It can be, absolutely can be. In fact, when I do the noise canceling headphones and I read my book, that beach house that I have bookmarked and put in my contacts as Becker's Beach House that somebody else owns right now. Um, I have the picture there. When I put on those headphones and I can sit and read, I imagine I'm sitting on the balcony, hearing that Atlantic Ocean just
Love it.
in the background. Um, but have something bigger. You can have we need to have the little goals that we can achieve, but have something huge. Um, Damien, we've talked about this before, so you're not going to be surprised to hear this. Um, I have a big project that I want to do to help homeless people, and I have a name for it. I own the websites already, and um, I, I know that there's milestones along the way to get to that point, but I also know that getting to that point, it could take my whole life before I see it succeed. And I'm okay with that
Yeah.
because I know, first of all, that my good friend Jamie supports the idea. And we've already done some brainstorming about similar projects that you have to this one of mine. But also, I know that it's an achievable goal, even if it takes me another 30 years, because it's something I can see in my mind. I can picture it. I know that the property is going to have like a 9 or 10 foot brick wall around it with heavy gates to keep it closed um, when people are there, and it's to help people to settle
Yeah.
and to become grounded in the place they're at. But the idea is to help those individuals go on and do something more with their life, whatever they want to do. I'm not the kind of person that wants to dictate. I want to help give people a hand up,
Yes.
help them get the help they need, hopefully to be a resource for them to either get the medical attention they need, because some homeless people do need some serious medical attention, but some just need a chance. They just need a chance.
Yeah.
And personally, I don't feel like the United States system does a good job of giving somebody a chance.
Yeah. 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 There's some shifting to be done there for sure. And it's individuals like you and Bob Foss
Yeah,
and me that will bring it to fruition for sure.
I believe that. And
I
I
do
believe
too.
that it's going to help people. The project that we've talked about, whether we end up putting them together or they're their own separate things, whatever the case is, but they're going to help people heal mentally,
Exactly.
emotionally, and spiritually. And I think that that's an area that the current system doesn't really take into account.
Yeah.
They give it some lip service, I feel, but
Well, it's headed in that direction, but let's be honest, they've created this big huge ship that it takes a very long time to
yes,
turn around.
yes,
And it's going to take time for their uh institutions or protocols or red
hmm
tape or all of the things that we've called it all over the years to catch up. But as individuals, we can make things like that happen faster that
oh yeah,
hopefully set those systems up where governments can step in and help and assist.
oh
And
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's a whole different conversation.
it is. But
That's
that's
a
the goal
whole
that I
different
have
conversation.
out there, like having something out there that's big, that's
Yeah.
huge, that can outlive you
Yes.
if you build it right.
Yes.
Because then when you hit the next goal that you have, no matter how big or small it is, you still have something in the future to work towards. So have
Yeah.
something huge, have a huge, massive goal to work
I love
towards.
that. I love that. That's definitely great, great, great advice. And as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to see that I don't know, 20, 30-year goal when you're so focused on the next year. Let's
Hmm.
just make the next year work. Or
Yeah.
maybe you can see 5 years. Maybe if you're really stretching, you can see 10 years. But that like lifetime goal is the big one. And
Yeah.
that's an important goal to keep in the back of your mind and to start plant the seeds to see
And
those
that's the thing
those
is,
seeds grow.
like, I'm not, I know specific things I want to be able to do with this
Yeah.
project, but I don't know exactly what it's going to look like.
Right.
I don't exactly know who the partners are going to be.
That's
I
okay.
don't know who's going to come into my life to help create this organization. And I don't even want my name on it because it's not about me. I
Right.
want it to be about the people we're helping with what the project entails. And one of the guys that really helped me kind of put some structure together for it was Booker T. Washington. He built Tuskegee University, literally one building, learning one skill set at a time. And so that's part of my framework. But you're right, it's very bare bones. There's so much that has to happen between now and when I can do it. But what I know is that that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, like getting to that and being able to start that project is massive. It's going to take millions of dollars. It's going to take probably hundreds of people. It's going to take people smarter than me, people with different talents and abilities than me. But what I know is that I want to make a difference. And because I have an idea that I believe will work, I decided to make that my legacy goal
I
and
love that.
put it out there. It's out there. I know, but so it doesn't
Well,
matter.
it's
Go
just a
ahead.
matter of time. Time brings things together. The ideas
Yeah.
are ours, but they're not ours to keep for ourselves. They're ours to share so
Yes.
that the right people can come into the picture and help us build it.
Absolutely.
The things that are for
Absolutely.
us will stick. The things that are for others to build will, go about the wind and stick where they need to stick. It's like seeds. I
It
feel
is.
like
And you just reminded me, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he's like, well, how come you don't use life coaching in your material? He says, because I don't think anyone's gonna need me for their whole lives to be their coach. Like, like I must be doing something wrong if somebody feels they need to like be my client forever. Like that's not no. People are gonna come and go, like you said, in times and seasons. They may a great example. A friend of mine, we had a conversation. I didn't think anything of it. He went on, he took what I shared with him and increased his income 30%.
well,
We had maybe a 15, 30 minute conversation. I don't even know how long it was. But he took what I gave him and applied it.
Yeah.
And so I believe that people come and go in our lives based on what they need and what we need and what we can create together, what our alignment is. So
Yeah.
those are
Love
big
that.
factors.
All right. Last question. Last question. Um, Name something fun that you do pretty regularly.
Oh, this is a point of contention between me and my wife because she doesn't think much of the things I like to do are fun because we have different ideas of fun. Um, but one of the things that I don't do enough of is travel. But one of the things I do for fun is I read. And somebody might be like, oh my gosh, this guy's so boring. But listen, I read across the spectrum. Somebody asked me one time, well, what do you read? I said, histories, biographies, science fiction, fantasy, classic literature. And at one point, I was like, you know what? Uh, shameless self promotion. Go to the website, just scroll through the book list because if I read it and recommend it, then it'll be on the book list. And
It's a good book
I've
list.
read, thank you. I've read stuff that I'm like, I got like three ideas out of it, but that was a terrible book. Like, oh my goodness, it was so hard to read it, but I got something out of it.
He is out of it.
Yeah. And so I do that because we expand our minds through information. It's then finding the things that speak to us so that we can apply that information. And one of the things that's happened over me over the last about 4 years, I've been reading about extra biblical texts, things that they've been finding, fragments of documents and things, because I'm a Christian. And so I'm interested in that stuff. I don't know how true it is or how false it is, but it's allowed me to expand my mind about the possibilities of the things that Jesus taught. I don't know if they're true, but it's given me things to think about.
Yeah. And really, ultimately, does it matter? What's true for you doesn't have to be true for somebody else, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Um, where can people reach you, Will?
Well, turningleafs.com is the website. And on the bottom are all my social media links. Instagram, if you're a visual person, might be a good place because I put my videos and quotes up there. I do a new quote every day. Um, I don't even know how long I've been doing that. It's been a while. I can just say it's been a while. Um, but that's what those quotes, I was like 16 when I got my first quote, maybe 14, somewhere in that time frame. But I got my first quote and it just spoke to me. And by the time I met my wife and we got married, I had over 85, 95. I don't know. I had a bunch of quotes. I had them on 3x5 cards and I put them on my wall. And I would read, they would stand out to me, the ones I needed for that day. And so I love quotes. I share quotes across all my social media. Turning Leaves has everything. It also has links for this event so that you can get your tickets. Because
Right.
seriously, guys,
Thank you.
if no, seriously, if somebody's looking to grow, this is a great place to be. It's not $6,000. It's not, $10,000 like some of the events go for. This is one so that the average person can show up, learn, maybe find a mentor that they can work with, or maybe just get some nuggets to take home and work on themselves for the next couple months or the next year. And that's what I love about it is I'm there, I'm taking notes from the other speakers because they know things I don't know
Right. We all
and
know
I can get
something.
wisdom from
That's
them.
one of my favorite quotes is no matter who you come across, they know something that you don't know. It doesn't
Oh
matter
yeah.
what walk of life they're from, no matter where, no
Yeah.
matter when.